Hello and welcome to a new episode of Airport CEO here on the channel BongoPlanes, where we will be focusing on our Terminal 2, and we will definitely try to finish it up to the point where we can have aircraft coming in. We will also be looking at signing more airlines, all this and more in today's episode. Before we get too far into today's episode, if you should end up enjoying this video, then don't forget to leave a like, and of course if you are new around here, why not hit subscribe. Alright, so we have a lot of things we still need to do, although not so much construction. The main construction part of Terminal 2 is really done, but there will also be some parts that we technically won't be finishing. That has something to do with the latest news about the game development, because since last episode there has been another developer block further detailing what we can expect in the next alpha, which will be Alpha 35. So if you want to know more about what is coming up in the next update of the game, then check out the last episode in the series, because there I'm talking quite a lot about what is coming up. In today's episode, I will mainly focus on what was described in the latest developer blog, because those were touching on some parts that were not really talked about in a previous blog, which I talked about in the last video, if that makes any sense. Anyway, the two things that the last developer blog really mainly focused on was restaurants and lounges. Both very exciting things. Basically, we will have a more in-depth offering when it comes to food rooms, how they work. So we will have the option of basically having a cafe style thing. So that would probably be like small sandwiches and stuff like that. And we can then also in the future have like fully fleshed out restaurants with kitchens and stuff like that. So that's really exciting, something I'm looking forward to. And this is also why in the build here of Terminal 2 of Berlin-Tegel, we will leave some spaces open, because we might want to change a few things once this update arrives. We still don't know when that will be, but I do suspect it to be pretty much around the corner. Maybe in a few weeks. This is totally guessing, by the way. I have no information about when it will be, but I would assume that it will be coming fairly soon, because they are talking so openly about the update at the moment. And of course also based on how the game developers have released updates in the past. Anyway, the other thing they were talking about were lounges, airport lounges. How cool is that? And it is actually, I mean, it's not just that we can get lounges, it's really tying into the game. It's not just another option for a food room or something like that. No, it goes further than that. So we can have lounges where we get totally newly developed design things. So we have new tools, new things we can add into this specific room. We can, or they will always be assigned to a specific airline, but so no shared lounges as far as I know. But the awesome thing is here that, for example, these lounges then, for example, improve your relationship with a specific airline that you have signed at the airport. So the this ties into the updated rating system that we have in the game, which came with the last update. So that's really awesome. So basically nowadays you sign an airline, and then by adding flights into your flight planner and hopefully turning these aircraft around in a timely manner, you will have a good or a less good relationship depending on how well you're doing these things with the airline. And an aspect that I got in from a comment, because I was wondering why it was so difficult for me to get some of the wide-body aircrafts in, there was a comment mentioning saying those wide-body aircrafts are offered when you have a better rating with the airline, which makes total sense. Which is just something I hadn't really thought about. And as I am often having periods of my game running where I'm constructing and therefore kind of don't sign any or don't add any flights to my flight planner, basically the relationship would deteriorate over time. So that makes total sense. As soon as I'm starting to have flights coming in regularly, I also get the offers for wide-body aircraft. So this is all in the rating system, it's all tying together, and this is then also, you're assigning the airline today, you're having flights at the airport. If you're doing well, the airline will like you more, offer you better flights, and now you can also improve your relationship by adding a lounge for this airline, which will tie in that we will have new types of passengers, because basically today all passengers are the same. In the future, these will be around 10 to 20%, I think they said in the developer blog, will be business class passengers, and those of course specifically would like to go to the lounge before their flight. So really awesome things coming up in the game. I'm really looking forward to this next alpha update. Yeah, and then of course one last thing which they also briefly mentioned in the last developer blog was actually that they are working on improving the AI when it comes to people. And that's awesome, because I've talked so much about it in basically the entire series, this season, the last season, that the behavior of people is not logical, and we're making many builds here trying to kind of navigate people on how they walk around and stuff like that, trying to compensate for their perhaps a bit illogical behavior. So this is something they are working on. So for example, one of the things they want to improve is what needs do passengers have, and at what time do they have these needs, because that is then again tying into how the passengers are rating your airport. And right now it's a bit all over the place, it's a bit random when they want what thing. They also want to improve kind of what decisions the passengers are making. So for example, at the moment what we see often is that passengers go to the gate, they sit down at the benches, and then they just start walking around for no obvious reason. And that's not obviously behavior that we would see in real life. If passengers arrive at the gate, normally they would stay around that area. If they're sitting down, they would often stay seated until they're boarding their aircraft. At the moment, they're just wandering all over the place, which is also something that is kind of draining the power of your PC, basically, because every time a passenger moves around, the game needs to calculate where the passenger would like to go. So this is, for example, one of the reasons why, if we have very congested areas at the airport, especially congested with passengers, is why we see these drops in frame rates, because a lot of stuff is going on at the same time. And obviously where we see many passengers at the most is around gates. So this will definitely be decreased with the new behavior that will be added to the game. That is awesome, because one, it will hopefully improve how the game is running, at least at these parts where we had a little bit of issues in the past. And two, because it will make the behavior of passengers much more realistic, which is great. Alright, so that's pretty much all I can say about the future update that is coming at some point, at least for now. Maybe we will get another developer blog before the update, who knows. But yeah, really exciting stuff coming up. I've now basically spent most of the episode talking about what the game will have in the future. I do apologize about that, but yeah, there are some really nice things coming which will really make this game even better than it is already. What have we really been focusing on here today in today's build is, yeah, as I said in the beginning of the episode, really just the last final details we want to have in place before we can open Terminal 2 for business. I have, of course, added a few shops, but we have left a few shop rooms empty, and that is because those would, for example, be places where we perhaps could have a restaurant or a lounge in the future. So I don't want to assign it already with stuff that I then might just have to remove afterwards. The same thing will go for Terminal 1, where we currently have a lot of rooms open, and I will wait to build anything there for the upcoming update, so we can, for example, especially in Terminal 1, we want to have more lounges because we have many airlines over there. I think in Terminal 2 we might have 1 or 2 lounges, not more, but yeah. So that's why we have some areas which kind of are not finished. Mainly what we are doing here is, or right now what we're doing here is basically adding bathrooms and staff rooms. You know, our favorite activity when building terminals. This is over at the little satellite that we have for Terminal 2, which is serving the remote stands, because that is actually quite far away from the terminal. So both passengers and staff would have to walk quite far to reach that area. So I want to keep staff around. For that we need the staff rooms, and of course both for staff and passengers I want them to be able to relieve themselves if they should need so. So that's why we have bathrooms both for male and female. Yeah, so as soon as we have done that, I think we will be pretty much done. I mean, most of the construction is already done anyways. Constructing these bathrooms doesn't take a whole lot of time. And as soon as we have done that, I think we can take a quick overlook and then see if we can start adding airlines and working on our flight scheduler. Alright, so for now, this is all we want to build here in Terminal 2. We have one food room or cafe area, and we have 2 shops. You can see on the right we have 2 more places where we could have shops or cafes or whatever we want, but I think we will reserve that for now, so we could add a lounge and a restaurant in the future. Yeah, other than that, it's pretty much done here. It's all a bit tight, especially the arrival hall. But obviously, again, with the next update, we will have automated luggage drop-off points, and we will have check-in, automated check-ins or check-in counters, and they will save up a lot of space. So we will definitely add that in these areas, and that should also improve things. Yeah, so that's about it. Let's just quickly sign some contracts here for these shops. Instead of just leaving them closed. So let's sign someone here so we at least make a little bit of money. I think right now our economy is quite catastrophic. That's obviously also something we still need to do, is really to delve into the R&D update and see what we can do there. Improvements in yeah, all over the airport really, and see if we can maybe also improve our economy a little bit. But it's not the main focus right now, but we definitely want to do that in the future. Alright, so that's about it. So now let's take a look. Right now we don't have any flights assigned because we've been running this game for quite a while, so any flights we had in our flight schedule have already expired. But I think before we assign new flights here, we want to add a few more airlines. You guys have suggested, obviously, over the last few episodes, airlines, and let's see which ones have loaded in today, and see, hopefully we can go through the entire list that I have written down here at the moment. If I have forgotten your suggestion because I maybe didn't get around to do it in the last few episodes, maybe the airlines didn't load in at the time, then I do apologize. Just ask for them again and I will try to put them in. I made a little mistake with my list, and some of the things that you had suggested might have gone lost, but yeah. So Aegean was one of the suggestions. I would still like to have Delta, but I haven't found any mod that has large aircraft for Delta Airline at the moment, which is a bit annoying, but okay, maybe in the future. Let's see what we else have. I mean, we have quite a few airlines still here, obviously. Goose Wings, one of the, yeah, I don't know if you can actually get rid of those entirely. I think there will always be suggested the airlines that the game comes with. Austrian Airlines was also a suggestion, so we will get those. Let's see. Let's see, lots could be something for the future. I'm just looking through here. So yeah, basically looking here at the game and my list. Edelweiss was a suggestion. I don't know if they really do fly to Berlin, but I do know that they sometimes even fly on routes that Swiss normally would operate, so I guess we can get those. Enter Air was a suggestion, one of the suggestions that I forgot in the previous episode. So now we have those as well. They also do they do look quite lovely with their 737-800s. I know last time we looked at Air Canada, but still I haven't got a mod that offers Air Canada with wide-body aircraft, so as long as we don't have that, I just can't add them, because obviously they will not arrive here at Berlin-Tegel with an A320. That would be quite unrealistic. Let's see. Have I forgotten anything so far? Maybe? I think I still had a few. June we already signed. Of course, Brussels Airlines, we had them as a suggestion, so we will definitely get those. And then I have one more, which was Azor Airlines, which we have right here. So yeah, those were the suggestions I've had so far.